I was still trying to assimilate the muddy handprints on the foam walls, the myriad rag dolls, and the wet carpet spongy beneath my feet, when Dame Judy opened the back door and bellowed into the rain, "Girls, come and meet Nanny!" And even with that rain thundering down, I heard them coming. I wasn't aware I was backing away until I came up hard against the wall. The girls blundered in and clumsily formed a line in front of me. Each of them was taller than I and twice as wide. They wore light blue dresses that may have been cute were they not stretched over such huge frames. But dresses aside, there was little indication of age or gender. The massive faces lolled blankly as they caught their breath, steam rising from their wet clothes. Every now and again, an expression of pure malevolence would pass across their faces, like black clouds drifting in front of the moon. From somewhere far away, I heard myself say, "I haven't signed anything yet." "Oh, Nanny," Dame Judy cried in delight. "I can see you're going to be a lot of fun." After 4 weeks of pure hell, I eventually escaped when the girls accidentally threw me over the garden wall, whilst using me as a missile to try to dislodge the body of the previous nanny from a tall tree. Many years later, I was at a garden party thrown by Susan Hampshire. I remember I was chatting to the Australian actor Ray Barrett, who was telling me how he came to be wearing Cecil Beaton's trousers, when all of a sudden I was approached by 4 beautiful young women. Each of them wore a light blue dress. The eldest coyly stepped forward and said, "I believe this is yours." I made love to all 4 of them that night. And we've been the firmest of friends ever since. And of course those 4 girls went on to manage the popular 80s synth band A Flock of Seagulls. For me, the 80s were all about the privations and hardships of Margaret Thatcher's Britain and this little item. The keener-eyed observers amongst you would no doubt recognize it as the very piece of chalk I used when I played an English teacher in the minor British film Hooray for Parry Jones. Inspired by the role, I had a pal in the art department knock me up some bogus qualifications and I applied for the job of a real English teacher. 3 weeks into a very happy stint at Twitley Towers, I was on my way home from school one evening when one of these biker types pulled up beside me at the traffic lights. He wore the customary leather jacket with the name of the gang that he belonged to emblazoned across the back, the Vagabonds. What drew my professional eye was the misspelling of the name. To wit, Vagabonds. I had my window down in a flash, fearing the lights would change before I could alert the fellow to his error. When a firm tap on the shoulder secured his attention, I was surprised to find that beneath his German army helmet was a young man, clean-shaven and devoid of the sort of wild hair that one associates with these types. Well, he was embarrassed by the spelling mistake and surmised that the rest of the gang would appreciate my pointing it out. Would I therefore, he wondered, accompany him to the gang's headquarters, where I could be properly thanked? I imagined this would involve some drinking and high spirits. Deeming a refusal to be terribly rude, I accepted his invitation and followed him as he journeyed deep into the wastelands on the fringe of the city. Here, on a scruffy patch of grass in the gathering gloom, I was introduced to a gang of leather and denim-clad figures hunched around a weak fire. By the light of the flames and a rising moon cutting through wispy clouds, I could see that all the gang members were young and clean-shaven. The biker who brought me slipped into their midst. By way of introduction, I offered the gang my name and credentials and proceeded to explain how there was no I in their name. "There's no I in team, teacher man," one of them contributed, rather obliquely, I thought, though it caused much amusement amongst his confederates. As the moon slid free of cloud, I noted uneasily that the gang's pale faces had grown a little darker. They now began to clumsily explain how funny it was that trouble learning at school had made them vagabonds in the first place, driving them away from towns and cities where their descent into brutality only hastened. Coarse hair covered their hands and faces now, and their words began to garble in mouths rapidly filling with teeth. When all coherency was lost, they rose as one, backs bent, long yellow fingernails click-clacking in the empty night. "Well, it's never too late to learn," I assured them. "Why don't two of you fashion a blackboard from that junk over there and we'll make a start?" I made love to the whole gang that night. And we've been the firmest of friends ever since.